All right, I'm recording on a video. And I'm recording on a Rodecaster. And I'm about to go to my notes because I'm going to need them shits. I'm going to still be lost with them. All right. All right. Yo, so this is the 404 Creators podcast. And it's kind of crazy today because we're doing something a little bit different. And we're trying to actually break down Lovecraft Country, which is an amazing show that it took me a while to actually really get into it. Like I was in like the third episode before like I really started coming around and actually jumping on the bandwagon. But I'm glad that I'm on the show now. And it's like, this is what, the 7th episode?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Episode 7.
Yeah, it's the 7th episode. So tell me what you thought about it, because it's going to be hard to break this down. Like it literally just went off like less than an hour ago, and we're still trying to even figure out like what we just saw.
I mean, this was basically Hippolyta's episode.
Yeah.
This episode was trippy.
Yeah.
The imagery, the cinematography was trippy.
Like one of the only ways to describe it for me is like it was on some Doctor Strange shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like if you take some shrooms and then you look at all the different types of colors and imagery.
Yeah.
It's basically, you're going on a trip.
Yeah.
It's a basic trip.
Yeah. It was amazing, and I can't even really understand exactly what her journey was, but it was a journey of self-discovery. And it was a journey of her trying to feel more empowered. It was a journey of self-discovery for a couple of people, because even Montrose had like his own little situation where, he was trying to, come to terms with who he really is and who he's always been, and, dealing with his sexuality and everything like that. And then Tick, coming to the realization of his father being, homosexual. Mm-hmm. So it's just like, it was a lot of people trying to figure a lot of shit up and trying to dissect a lot of stuff about their lives. But Hippolyta, it was definitely her episode.
Yeah, I think with Lovecraft, it seems like everybody is going on their own journey.
Yeah. And
like the last episode when it dealt, was the last episode Ruby's episode?
Last episode was mostly Ruby's episode. Her discovery of finding out, that she was been basically lied to, when her, taking a potion that turns her into a white woman. So that was basically Ruby's episode.
Yes, I think everybody seems like is going through some type of metamorphosis.
I was going to use that word. That's a perfect word for it.
And even within Ruby's episode, it started where you can use the butterflies as symbolism. Everybody is pretty much remaking themselves to who they really are.
Yeah.
And going with Hippolyta, like even from the beginning, I felt like she's a dope character and a dope actress, but in the beginning more underutilized. And I think within herself,
I think they did that on purpose, though.
Yeah, within herself, like dealing with in the 50s, still in America, a patriarchal society. But even every woman within Lovecraft Country is going through a metamorphosis, but they all want to gain power and respect because they feel like they're overlooked.
Yeah.
And
these women are so deserving of that power and respect. It's just like, and it's like, and I guess we'll get to it a little bit further, but it was kind of when she was talking to, I guess not real George, but like her
manifestation.
Yeah, her manifestation of George.
Mm-hmm.
She had a conversation with him about her feeling like she was shrinking herself. And at first, like, I'm gonna be honest, I got kind of defensive when I saw her talking about that.
Why did you get defensive?
Because it's almost like, it's almost what George said. Like, if you felt like this, why didn't you say something to me? And it's just like, it almost felt like she was trying to make him to be a mind reader and almost making him responsible for her shrinking herself instead of speaking up and saying what she felt. And I guess it was a point where she felt like she didn't even have the words to say how she felt about it. And mm-hmm. when she finally did have the words, he's already gone and he's already dead. So it's just like, I kind of just put myself in a situation where if you're in a relationship and that person is feeling like they're shrinking themselves to try to make your light grow a whole lot brighter, why don't you just say that,
But you know what? What was that saying? When it comes to women, especially in the, we going into the time period of the 50s.
Yeah.
Patriarchal society.
Right.
And what they always say, women are supposed to be seen, not heard.
Yeah.
So it's like, she want to say certain things, but within society, they want to keep women in a box.
Right. But it
Don't come out of that box.
Yeah, and I get that, but it was directed at George. So I'm like, did she not feel like she was in a safe space where she can, when she could speak her truth to him and talk to him about how she was feeling, like, that she felt like he was part of society, part of the, the machine that was like keeping her down.
Yeah, because he's an extension.
Right.
When we look at privilege, you got to have the sense of there's some sort of male privilege.
Right.
That pretty much, even, for instance, when Tick and Lady was coming back and they wanted to utilize Woody to take a trip.
Right.
And he's like, hey, like, I want to use the car. And she's like, well, I already got some business to take care of.
Yeah.
In that moment, Tick wanted to pretty much
assert his dominance over her, like, hey, I need something that's more important than whatever you got going on. Exactly. And George wouldn't want you to do this, and like, yeah, he kind of tried to assert his dominance over her.
Because even within that scene, it's more like, you may have something to do, but as a man, what I have to do is more important than whatever you got going on.
Right.
And I'm thinking because you're a woman.
Right.
But
it could have something to do with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so many scenes within Lovecraft where I think the women shine.
Absolutely.
That scene with Letty, I don't know if it's episode 2 or episode 3, when she basically, they're going to fight white people because they just moved into the house and then the white people welcomed them and they pretty much...
Oh, when she came out there and just bust everybody's windows out.
She came out with a bat.
Yeah.
And even with the aesthetics of that scene, when she came out, right? I don't know if she put, basically, it's so many different symbolism because after she finished going ham on the cars with the bat, right? Mm-hmm. What they put on her, she had on a dress.
Right.
She was a strong woman. She had on a dress. But before the cops had captured her, they put on a man's jacket.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
To symbolize, I'm thinking like, I'm just as strong as a man. I can do what a man can do. But also, I think the jacket, before she was captured by the cops, was symbolizing a man's jacket of protection.
Okay. Like somebody draped their coat over her. Yeah.
The man's jacket to kind of protect you a little bit. Because they're trying to make it seem like the women are weak. Even the white chick, Christina, the one that they're antagonists.
Yeah.
Even she's trying to assert herself as a woman.
Right.
Because...
And she has to use the cloak of being a male in order to assert her dominance.
Yes.
That's the only way she can really get the power that she actually truly probably deserves.
It's basically telling you, like, look at all the shit that the women got to go through
in
order to be on the same level as a man.
Yeah.
If you reach back and Christina was like, she talked to Tick before she gave him the ring. The people of light or whatever.
Right.
Their group. And she told him, she was like, all you had to do was just been born a man in order to gain the ring. And she got it. She's looking at it like, I got to go through all these loops and hoops in order to get on the same playing field. And he told her,
and you light years ahead just because you're a man.
Just because you're a man.
Yeah.
And he told her, yeah, and a black man at that.
Right.
Kind of symbolized, like, you know what I'm saying?
It's just showing what they think of you.
Yeah, like, because even some people think that black people are subhuman. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're only, 3/4 of a man.
And it was
history.
And it is crazy that they talk about that because that's part of, like the poem that they read about H.P. Lovecraft's poem in the very beginning. Like, he has some fucking terrible views about race and about black people in particular.
He's racist.
Yeah. So this is kind of appropriate to name it Lovecraft Country because it's basically his legacy and the area that they living in is kind of fucked up because it's seen through the eyes of him, of people like him. And that's how they view, us. That's how they view black people. So it's like they're viewing the world through the lens of H.P. Lovecraft in the way that he was. I mean, he was a great writer, great science fiction writer, but he had some fucked up views about race and about black people in particular. So it's just kind of appropriate to have, this story, this story viewed through the lens of his mythology and some of the stories that he actually wrote. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And even, I mean, with H.P. Lovecraft, I think he was just a product of his culture and his environment. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
To a large extent, yeah.
Let's go back to the whole thing was everybody's going on a trip and everybody has their own path.
Yeah.
And I like the way that they're basically telling a story because it's putting the pieces together.
Mm-hmm.
And just because a person may seem like an insignificant character in the beginning,
Right.
they circle back and they kind of uplift them.
Yeah.
To put them on an even playing field with everybody.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it seems like everybody in this story has a huge role to play.
Yeah.
Everybody's like all
It's
the
like
chess
puzzle
pieces.
pieces.
Yeah, all the pieces. You know, all of them matter. Like it may seem small at first, but all of these pieces actually matter. They're huge pieces of the puzzle that's gonna make the whole picture that much better.
I definitely, I think one of the significant parts that they had depicted within the story of this episode, it reminded me with Hippolyta. Hippolyta is so fucking smart.
Yeah.
And with her going through the calculations and everything.
Yeah, she was on some STEM program, fucking Rain Man. Like she was really putting that shit together, and I just love the fact that it shows the intelligence of of women, of black women in particular. Like the role that they play, it was on some Hidden Figures type shit where she was
exactly.
Just like,
that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
It reminded me of, and I haven't seen the movie, but I heard about the movie Hidden Figures.
Yeah.
But it reminded me of that. Like even with black people in general, they had like this voiceover, basically this person talking about like how the way that black people are basically they seem like a myth.
Right.
Like a lot of times depicted throughout history, and even in culture today, like it's something about black people that's like people think we're magical, but magical in a certain sense that we want to utilize whatever you have, your special gifts for our benefit.
Right.
And it's like seeing her going through the calculations, even when she went on a trip, and it seems like she went to the future.
Yeah, I honestly, it seemed when she went through the portal, when she unlocked the gateway or whatever, it looked like she went to future Earth, and basically got abducted by aliens. Now, when I first saw that, it immediately reminded me of like one of my favorite books by it's a amazing author. By the name of Octavia Butler. I love her books. Like I binge read like so many of her books, but it's a book in particular called Dawn, which is like it's basically like an alien invasion or whatever. And not to spoil that book, but it's amazing. But she wakes up in like this all white room, abducted by these aliens, don't know what's going on. So it immediately like brought like the visuals in my head about that book. So it's just amazing. But I don't know where she went. I don't know if this is gonna be a driving force moving forward, or if this is a completely isolated story for her. But I just love seeing that, and I would love for that particular part of the story to be explored a whole lot more. But I think they're gonna move on because I think there's another story that they're actually trying to tell. But it's great for her to have that journey, even if it's a self-contained journey for her.
Yeah, like the little things that I wanted to. I think that scene with Montrose and Sam was funny as hell.
Yeah.
The little subliminal messages, even
because I saw what was going on. Like Montrose was like he was deliberately like starting an argument so that so that he could kind of push him away.
Basically, a depiction of like even as being gay or homosexual, like they go through the same shit as heterosexual couples. Yeah. Relationships, it ain't no different. You know what I'm saying? It's
same shit. People play the same tricks, play the same mind games. It's all the same shit. Like a relationship is a relationship, and I think that's a message they were trying to send forward, trying to let everybody know this is nothing different. I mean, it may not be a relationship that you're familiar with or you're comfortable with, but at the very base of it, shit is all the same.
Yeah, I mean, to have Sam like waking up cooking breakfast, he come in and. Sam know damn well nobody likes runny grits. Like, come on, bro. Yeah. And then like the blasphemy, I don't know if he did or he didn't, but he was like, it's too much sugar in the grits, which is a play on words. But I'm like,
I'm gonna make a confession. I fucking hate grits.
But you from the north though. Don't
Yeah.
people in the north, they like sugar in their grits, right? You like sugar in your grits?
I don't like grits at all. I eat oatmeal, so I don't know. I know that's
I
probably.
don't even like oatmeal.
Yeah,
I don't fuck with oatmeal.
yeah. I eat fucking Quaker Oats oatmeal. That's all I fuck with. But yeah,
Yeah, it was just the aesthetics of him and Sam together, and then seeing Tick and Letty like pretty much find them in the hallway. And the thing is, everybody's going through metamorphosis, but it's not fully complete yet.
yeah,
Because even though Montrose ran after Sam because he cares about him and stuff like that, and they have a relationship.
right.
When Letty and Tick showed up, you see the
Yeah,
You
it was,
see him-
it was a terror in his eyes.
it was a tear in his eyes, but he dropped his hand from Sam
Yeah,
to make sure that the audience knows that he's not fully out there.
and he's not. Yeah, he's never gonna be full. I don't think he's gonna be fully comfortable.
Even
You know, with coming to terms with it, and then it's like I'm not proud of the language that Tick used when he addressed his father or whatever, but I think it is it's on par with how somebody would feel with a revelation about finding out their father is having a relationship with another dude. So it's like it's completely on character. It's completely like in that time. I mean, it's probably even relevant for today. I mean, a lot of people would not, be able to adjust, accurately or properly with having that revelation about their father or whatever. So, but I did appreciate the fact, and it was kind of subtle, but it was amazing how when Letty, when Tick was down here, when he ran downstairs and he was kind of just blowing off steam and kicking shit and like fucking blowing up about, finding out about his father, Letty was just like, well, this is what I found out about him. She was just like, just trying to keep him calm, keep him focused, that we came here for information. I got the information. Let's not fucking blow up. Just calm your ass down and let's go ahead and just drive forward. We have what we came here for. So just calm all that, that temper tantrum that you having right now, cut that shit out and let's just go ahead and just move forward. And I thought that was dope that she knows how to channel his anger and kind of just like he was almost on some Incredible Hulk shit. And she kind of just like, she was just like on some Betty shit, like just calm down, Hulk.
I think Letty is pretty much Tick's tether to his humanity, and she's also his moral compass.
Yeah.
Without Letty, he would be all over the place. He would probably be uncontrollable.
Now, see, I'm wondering because, oh my God, what's the woman's name that his previous relationship?
Gia?
Yeah, Gia.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I because they previewed, or showed like scenes from the last one before this episode came on, I thought Gia was gonna be a part of this episode, or at least,
No.
previewed a little bit in here. But I just wonder, like, because I know she's gonna shake some shit up. There's no way that Gia is gone from like the last.
I think the whole Gia episode was basically.
Because it can't be a one-off.
No, it's not a one-off, but it's trying to tell you what transpired when Tick was at war. And we'll circle back to Gia probably in future episodes.
Yeah.
But they probably kind of want to get everybody like re-grounded into like what's going on within America.
Yeah. The main storyline. Yeah.
Kind of like you on a path, but then you went off path, and then you got back on
Right.
the road you're traveling.
Yeah, it's kind of just giving a little bit more history on Tick, and because Tick he mentioned that, his father kind of made him, like the war made him into the monster that his father was always trying to make him into.
It's like it's so much going on within this episode, and it's really like it's probably gonna take a couple of days for everybody to really digest this episode.
Yeah, my mind was blown.
It's so much
on this
content,
one.
and it's with Lovecraft. The cinematography is so beautiful, and the storytelling is so dope. We can spend so much time on one character, and it'll be so much content.
I mean, just the scene with Hippolyta locked in a room with this big, like 10-foot tall, beautiful black woman with a big ass afro, with like she's an alien or she's like a fucking robot. Like just that visual alone. It would just take me forever to just dissect that shit and try to figure out what the hell was going on, because I just love the visuals for this show, because just like I told you earlier, even before I really even got into this show, I love sci-fi, I love black people, and I love black people in sci-fi, and it's just like this is giving me all the sci-fi vibes that I've ever wanted in any show, but it also gives like the social commentary and just relevance within Black culture and science fiction in general. Like it's just it's giving me everything that I've always said that I wanted out of sci-fi, and having Black people incorporated into that. It's just it's a beautiful thing to have.
I don't think I've ever seen like a show with Black people in sci-fi, but they're at the forefront.
Right.
Usually they're in like the background.
Right.
Or they're like a supporting character.
Yeah.
It's a different experience when you have them leading, because you have, and I guess that's why we as Black people are more grounded and connected to it, because like some of the same type of reactions to certain situations, we would do some of that shit. You know what I'm saying?
It's still relevant even today. It's not just locked away into their time period. Like that shit is relevant to their reactions are relevant to our reactions right now.
Going back to Hippolyta, like basically her trip, and as the being or robot figure, Afro woman, as she was saying, she was like, "You're not in a prison," and I think that kind of symbolizes Hippolyta's mind. And as she's going through the trip, she pretty much in each instance, she's pretty much screaming out, because the woman is asking, "Who are you?
Yeah.
Who do you want to become?"
Right.
And I think she said she wanted to take a trip to go dance with
Josephine Baker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even when you look at that scene, which I think Lovecraft is really addressing, and if you really look at the reactions of Josephine Baker or the other women to Hippolyta, they looking at her like, get in line, and like, why you messing up the moves and stuff like that.
Right.
And I'm thinking even between Ruby and Letty's relationship, there's been like this undercurrent of colorism. And I'm saying colorism because it seems like Letty would get preferential treatment. Josephine Baker getting preferential treatment because they're lighter complected.
Right.
And you'll see like the darker women in the background. And even when Ruby wanted to go get a job, and Letty was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna just pretty much show up and get the job," and Ruby looking at her like, it's not gonna be that easy.
Yeah, but then Ruby's theory was kind of just smashed to pieces.
Yeah, it
when
was
she
smashed
saw
to pieces.
Yeah. When she saw the other woman, it was basically the same shade as her, and she got the job. It wasn't no preferential treatment there.
Yeah, but
so I mean, it does happen in society, but I think at that point, Letty, Ruby kind of accounted for that a little bit more, and it just wasn't that type of situation as far as her getting that job there.
Oh,
but
yeah.
it's not like it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it seems like it's like a order. You have where it's depicted like white people or white men in general are at the top. Then you have the Black man. Then you have the white woman. Then you have the lighter skinned Black woman. Then you have the darker woman at the bottom of the totem pole. And I like the way they're trying to uplift the Black woman. And basically, just human beings in general, to say we all the same, we all go through shit.
Yeah.
Because even with Ruby's episode, she took a trip down the lane of being a white woman, and she was like, it was probably intoxicating for her.
Right.
And even on that situation, they come to find out that what's the guy's name? Christina's boyfriend.
I forgot. Yeah.
What is his name? I forgot his name, but her white counterpart, pretty much we kind of find out that, which I thought for a long time, that he was dead.
I didn't think he was real. I mean, once that revelation was there that she was using his skin, I was like, he was just a made up person, and she was him the whole time.
I put two and two together when they're pretty much the keeper of the dog, she got killed, but then Ruby ended up in her skin. So I was like, the only way that's possible is if they had to utilize some of her blood to make a spell or something like that. So I'm like, if she's dead.
But I thought she was dead all the way, though. Yeah. Yeah. Well, see, because I saw the vial, and I saw it was red, but I didn't put it together that it's actually blood. Like they're actually using the blood to actually create that spell.
That's a blood spell.
Yeah.
And I think I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch, because I'm like.
Yeah, honestly, like this is just a first take. Like
we're
still processing this shit.
Still
right
processing
now.
shit.
Yeah.
It's so much you can go through, and so many different so much stuff you can break down.
Yeah.
Like this feels like a full course meal type of episode.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Because honestly, like this whole episode felt like coming down off of like an acid trip. It was so many things, like especially when you go to like Hippolyta stuff, when she's going through the portal, when Tick shows up and he fights the cops and stuff like that. To kind of, he's not really saving her, but I mean, but they kind of assist each other. I mean, because Hippolyta basically saved him by shooting one of the cops.
Yeah.
So it's just like it's a lot of teamwork. In this show, you don't have a whole lot of women, you know, being like damsels in distress and like having to be saved by men and stuff like that. These women are taking charge and taking control of their own destinies and actually discovering the power that they have inside of them.
Exactly.
You know, kind of saying it like that kind of sounds kind of corny, but that's exactly what's going on though. These women are discovering the power that they always had. It's just they're having opportunities to let that shit manifest. And I think it's dope. It's amazing.
It's so dope. Even the little scene with Hippolyta driving Rudy, and a woman pull up beside her driving the
Black woman on motorcycle. Riding by herself.
And usually, when it comes to motorcycles, that's more depicted as more of a masculine thing.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking Hippolyta saw herself or her future self in that woman. Like, if she can do it, I can do it too.
Right.
And they just want to be seen. They just want to be heard.
Yeah.
They don't want to be stuck in a box.
And then that kind of goes back to, I mean, because she's on the road, and that kind of goes back to like even when George was just like, nah, I don't really want you to go in and do that. It's kind of dangerous. Like he didn't even want her to do it with him. And I understand the need and the desire to want to protect your wife, but at the same time, it was kind of part of keeping her down and not really realizing her full potential, especially as an explorer. She has an inquisitive mind.
Yes.
She's a discoverer, like she's an explorer, and to not really nurture that, you know, as her husband, it was kind of fucked up, but he didn't realize that he was part of this whole society where, you know, we don't value, you know, the women's intelligence and their ingenuity and their and them trying to explore all the same shit that us as men are trying to explore. So it was, I understand where she was going when she was kind of coming at him with her speech and saying you're basically part of it, and you know, now I've been trying to tell you, but
look at that scene. Like basically that was the last scene of her trip, and you see her journey, and even this, she went through like being a warrior in a tribe, getting knocked down. You don't even know how long she was there for. Like how long she got put down and had to keep getting back up and start fighting and defending herself. Yeah. And I think she went dancing with Josephine Baker and continue on. And I think significance of the last trip with George was everything was cool because she wanted to see her husband again. Right. Because he's deceased now. And she took that trip, and as soon as he said something along the lines of when you realize you're my wife, and it kind of brought her back to reality of I'm more than just a wife. Yeah. I'm a warrior. I'm smart. Yeah, I'm gifted.
And it's crazy because that was one of the last things she said before she got to him. She's like, and I'm the wife of George.
Yes. Yeah. But I'm saying, and then after that, what did she say? I'm a discoverer or something like that. And then they took that trip to outer space. I don't even know exactly where they went, but
basically they got brought into the world of their daughter. Remember, because she got the blue hair, like she was, and I forgot
Olympia
the name of
something.
Yeah, it was the name of the comic book. So she had the blue hair, and it was just like it was basically the whole world of their daughter. And I just thought that was amazing to try to incorporate her, you know, her intelligence and her. You know, her creativity about, you know, creating a comic book about a black woman exploring the universe and stuff like that. I like seeing this in sci-fi. It's just fucking dope.
It's going to be a struggle for Hippolyta going forward, because even what she said, like, before she had a choice. Did she want to assimilate within this new society and universe or future society and universe? Right. Or does she want to go back to where she come from? Right. And she's like, I've been through all of this shit. Ain't no fucking way I can go back. But then she thought about her daughter. Yeah. So it's like, to go through all of that and to be so powerful.
All that, it's got to be intoxicating having all of that power.
And then you got to come back to reality.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a hard society for a woman to go into, let alone a black woman to go into. So for her to make that choice, I mean, that was a huge sacrifice for her to go back, knowing that, you know, knowing all she had to deal with, and, you know, but she did it for the sake of her daughter, though. So I mean, that's just a powerful thing. Like that shows how much love she has,
Yeah.
and how much responsibility she recognizes that she has to her daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as far as what they want from Ruby, like, what do you think Ruby's role is going forward? Like, do you think she's just being used, and she's being used as a spy to try to get with
Ruby is being used. But I don't think Ruby is dumb.
Right.
And I know she knows she's being used. I mean, after Christina fucked around with her with the organic dildo, I mean,
yeah.
and I'm like, Ruby, did you have feelings for
Right.
the skin or what?
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
She
Like,
did. Yeah, she was feeling that shit.
it must have felt good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, she knows, and it's kind of sort of like she's in Hippolyta's situation, because it's like she knows certain things, but she knows people are whispering, not telling her the full story.
Right.
Because even she was looking at Lady, as Lady was talking to Tick, talking about Hippolyta, saying you need to go check on your auntie because she's gonna be in danger wherever she's going. So she knows that something is going on.
You talking about when she was listening out the door?
Yeah. And plus, listen to Christina. I'm pretty sure Christina put her in a little bit, as much as she wants her to fill her in with.
Right.
So it's a lot of whispering in this show.
Yeah.
A lot of gossiping, and everybody trying to assert themselves in power.
Mm-hmm.
All of this is a power struggle between different factions.
Right.
Between different, what they say, lodges. Because even those cops, they was part of a lodge.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They like, why this machine on?
Mm-hmm.
That, I think, is that Hiram's?
I don't think that was. I don't think that was part of his lodge. Like, well, I don't know. It could be. It could be, because that device was there for a reason. They were probably guarding that device and didn't know how to operate it until they had the proper coordinates. So yeah, that could have been part of his lodge also.
Man, they
Honestly, like, at that point, I just thought it was like random ass cops at some lighthouse. Like, yeah, what the fuck is going on? This is some machine that we don't understand what it is. But yeah, that could have been part of the lodge, though.
the showrunner is a black woman,
Mm-hmm.
and I can definitely see her fingerprints all over the show, because the way they depict black skin is so fucking beautiful. Kind of reminds me of like if Spike Lee would shoot certain scenes,
Right.
dealing with color and hues, and they bring it out. They make it look so beautiful, which it is. Black skin is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It's just dope.
Yeah.
But I mean, we can go on through a lot of shit, but it's just
First
take on this.
Yeah, honestly, this is really just a first take, just trying to figure out and try to process what we just saw. I'm definitely going to, of all the episodes that we've seen so far, like, I think this is episode 7. Of all the episodes we've seen so far, I'm definitely going to watch this one over again.
Because I feel like I missed certain
yeah,
things.
And it's because, and this is the first time we actually watched the episodes together. Like, we actually sat in here in the studio, watched the episode together, and then we tried to do this podcast like right after it. And I feel like everybody has to understand, like the audience has to understand that this is our first time actually really processing all the stuff that we saw, because this episode, more than any of them, was like it was just a mind trip. It was a complete mind trip. So I'm definitely gonna watch this episode again, and I think we're gonna have to do like a deeper dive, like really breaking everything down. But this was definitely my favorite episode of the show. Was this your favorite episode?
Nah.
It wasn't?
Nah.
Can you remember what your first episode was?
My favorite episode?
Yeah.
I still like the one.
Monsters in Love, the last one?
Not that one. The one that seemed more like National Treasure, like Indiana Jones type.
That was a good one.
That was a good episode to me.
That was a really good episode.
I think that was maybe episode 3.
Yeah. That was a really good episode. I think this one is my favorite one, because it's the most futuristic, Afrofuturism type of, and you know I'm into that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, this is exactly what you wanted.
Yeah,
you know?
it really felt like some like Octavia Butler type shit. You know, it was just, I love it. I love it. It was like some time, because it's got a little bit of time travel. It's got some historical significance with the African women warriors. Like, it's just Like all of that shit is, I love it.
I don't even think I've seen like time travel depicted like that though.
Right. And I don't even know.
You don't even know if it really was time travel,
Yeah,
really,
I don't-
or
yeah,
was a trip or something.
Yeah, I have no idea what it is. I have no idea what mechanism they were using to have her go back in time. Was it
But
just
Christina
like
said like that's his time machine.
yeah, she did say that. Now I didn't notice that in the episode, but when they did the recap of the episode right before this episode, I did catch it that time. But I didn't hear her say it was a time machine before.
Even the scene when she went and she was hanging out with Josephine Baker for, you don't even realize like how much time passed
No,
between
I
them.
thought about that because she was saying, because Josephine Baker was saying to Hippolyta, they never noticed that. You know, when I'm sad, like they don't. So I'm like, they spent a lot of time.
together.
Because it was almost like a mini montage when they was like smoking and the dancers were hanging out with each other. I'm like, this is not just one day. They were doing these shows for a long time.
Dealing with woman's sexuality, sexual freedom.
Yeah.
'Cause they was
Liberation.
kissing
And
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
they talked about like, you know, and it's basically, it's a lot of historical context in this. And it makes me want to, it's things I've always heard about and read about and like, you know, in passing, but it makes me want to even do a little bit more research because it's like a lot of black people did flee the racism of America during that time and found, you know, liberation and freedom in other countries. Like
Yeah.
France was one of
Yeah.
them. Like a lot of black stars just went over to like other countries and like France is a little bit better over here. I'm just gonna kick it over here and be a little bit more free.
Yeah.
So like there's a lot of historical context and it's just like I appreciate the fact that the writers of this show understand the history of black people around the world and put it into the shows, and it makes me even just want to research our history a whole lot more. It's just one of those things. It's just like they're entertaining us, but they're actually educating us at the same time. But it's up to us to like do like a deeper dive and like
Yeah.
really figure out the real context of everything that they're talking about. Yeah, it's a good show. But like I said, this is just our first initial reactions to the show, and I definitely want to watch it again.
Yeah. I gotta watch it again.
Yeah. So this is just, I don't know even what you call it. You call it a recap or first? It's a first impression. It's the very first impression of the show. In the comments, I want y'all to tell me what y'all thought about the episode because it was amazing. Like it's too amazing to even try to break down right now. But we just wanted to go in and give y'all the first impression of the show, and I hope y'all loved it as much as we do. And if y'all like it, we'll do like another recap of the next episode. So just let us know how y'all liked it.
All right.
All right.
Yeah.